Yes, kindred mode activated.
Activated.
For those of you who don't know what we're doing, we every Saturday we have a Vampire the Masquerade session over on Fenice's channel, and we role play our little hearts out as vampires and have a grand old time. And then on Mondays, we come together with you guys and us and sort of sit back and chat and discuss the episode and talk about all sorts of things that we can't talk about while we're role playing. So that's what we're here to do today. So everybody, welcome. And I'm happy that everyone's here. And I'm looking forward to talking about everything that happened, because there are quite a few things that happened, like always.
Oh, yeah. Like always, I would say. Yeah.
So, and I know we have a few questions today, which I'm excited about, but let's start off as we always do. And Sparta, why don't you tell us about your favorite moment of the stream?
I would say there's a couple, but I'll just leave it with two. The bunny hopping through the forest. That was pretty hilarious.
Yes, for
just
sure.
the image of it. Just this big old dude just hopping through the forest. And then jumping through the window and the naked lady being there.
Good moments, for sure.
Good moments, yes.
Definitely good moments of the session. What about you? I almost called you Alejandro. Mimsy.
Wow. I'm kind of used to it, though, to be fair.
Yeah.
Favorite moments. I think it was using Sparta as a donkey and just riding him, just to be able to even see anywhere, and then using him as a pogo stick, I guess.
Pretty much.
I guess, yeah. They were bunny hopping together. That just sounds wrong.
Yeah. Everything about just... wow.
Everything that... Wow.
Everything
okay,
that just happened sounds
okay.
just... My mind went
hard.
Immediately there, you know? Same. Riding him like a donkey, using him as a pogo stick. All right, those are some big old sexual innuendos right there. If I've ever heard any. Woo! All right.
I guess that full moon is in full action, huh?
It is.
Yeah.
Oh boy. What about you, Finn?
I think the few well, we commented it in private, but I think I said it like already in private. Like for me, the best during the RP, I was like very curious to see how Memzi was going to play Alejandro's new little secret bond.
Mm-hmm.
And I loved every moment that like he subtly like said something and managed in his very Alejandro way to completely bamboozle us to where like we're like, okay, yeah, sure, makes sense, like that's totally fine. But I really loved how he played with it and like really like tossed just like very fucking subtle things that we still couldn't figure out, because again, like he covered himself very well.
Mm-hmm.
And in a way that like doesn't attract any type of dubious like, you know, concerns and suspicions from like my character, at least, you know.
Yeah,
it was like everything she threw at him, even though like, you know, I was like a few times, you know, I put it out there or whatever in a very subtle way too, but he always rebutted, and I was like, it's okay, like I see it. That I really liked it. I think it was really cool. Definitely cool, like funny to see like all the bunny hopping and shit, but as far as RP, I think that was really cool.
Yeah, I think I'd have to agree. I think that that was one thing that I was looking forward to and seeing, like, how was it going to play out. And I know, because I did have some private chats with Mimsy about it, and I know that there was some, like, not like hesitation, but yeah, like just concerns and being like, ugh, like, I don't think it was necessarily something he was looking forward to. And it made me honestly feel a little bit bad, because I was like, I kind of thrusted him into the situation. But we did have a talk about it, and I felt more comfortable after our talk. But I was excited to see what he was going to do with it, and how it was going to change Alejandro, and how we were going to see that. And I honestly think you did an amazing job. And like Finn said, I think that your explanations when you were questioned were like spot on. Like, there was no seed of doubt in Alejandro when he was giving those explanations. It's not like he was like trying to think of a lie. It was just like his natural response. And I think that was like how you did that with like such fluidity. I was like, this is what I was hoping.
That like you could have fucked yourself over and
made it like shady
clever,
or
perfect way that was like so Alejandro, whereas like Nyx was like, shit, makes sense.
Right.
Your code of honor exactly like makes all perfect sense. Of course you would change your mind because Lindsay like saved your ass. Now you have the honorable, like, conduct of, like, owing her your life. So, yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
He completely fooled Sparta, really too.
And I think that it was the same subtlety when asked about, why he didn't have why he didn't drink.
Yep.
Like,
It's like they took care of me, yeah.
And it was like, that makes sense. Okay, you don't want to drink it? Sure, I'll take a glue.
Yeah, like every moment to where it's like somebody could have been like suspicious of your behavior or like things that you were saying, you did it super gracefully and like seamlessly. And that was one thing that I was interested in, because with the blood bond, and this is one thing that we talked about, is like you don't have any doubt. Like your feelings become true, like your feelings towards that person, and it's not anything that you question. So it's not like he would have like been hesitating, been like, oh no, I have to lie, and like, how am I gonna lie, and like, how am I gonna get myself out of this situation? Like, he wouldn't have been thinking that. He would have just answered, in the ways that you did, and been like, no, this is the reason, and blah blah blah. Like, obviously he wasn't forthcoming with information, but he did it in a graceful way that didn't make anybody be like, okay, your behavior is weird and that answer was weird. You know what I mean? Like, it was really good. So
I agree.
Kudos to you. I think you handled that situation really well.
Wasn't the Oscars last night? Where the hell is mine? Excuse me?
We'd like to present this Oscar to
That's cute.
I want to thank God. I want to thank Jesus. I want to thank my mom and my papa. They always been there for me. I want to thank my no. That's award speech 101. God, Jesus, mom and dad, and or grandparents,
and the team.
Yeah.
And the cast.
And then they like awkwardly start to try to remember everybody's names, but they only remember like 3 people's names. But there was like 75 people, but they're never going to remember all of those names. Yeah. So they just say the first 3 that come to mind. Yeah. And everyone else, and everyone that was there.
I want to thank Bob, the peanut guy.
I love it.
He brought me my lunch every single day on set. Oh goodness, that's funny.
Don't forget the makeup artist.
makeup
They
artist
are
is
actually important.
Yeah.
makeup
Make me
artist. I
look
was
good.
a makeup artist on the shoots whenever I wasn't acting or assisting directing or whatever. And I swear to God, being the makeup artist is like the way of knowing everybody's business all the time.
You're there all
Makeup
the
artists
time.
have the scoop because like they're on, but they're kind of just observing, kind of just doing touch-ups or like preparing the actors before.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like you get it all. You get it all of it. It's great. I loved it. I loved it. I missed it. Anyway.
But yeah, so those were our favorite moments. How many questions do we have? Because I know you said we had a
have
couple.
like a few actually.
Excuse me. Oh, my
Um
head.
Jess submitted like really good questions.
Good job, Jess. Way to fucking
Yay.
So
go.
I can
Yes,
read them
yes.
and then we can like kind of like understand a
Oh,
little
my
bit
head
how to like
hurts.
maybe um organize them.
Where are the
But
extras awards at? Right.
it is so we have who do you think will die by the end of the series and why? What has your character taught you so far? I really like that question actually. We know that Travis is connected with Isaiah in some way. How do you feel about this, and where do you think this connection is going to? Apart from Travis, who else do you think is connected to Isaiah or the purists? And
Oh.
then I put a little note regarding the, whole Alejandro transformation.
Okay, let's just start at the top and we'll mix them in like we did last time. So what was the first one? Who's
Who
gonna
do you think
die?
will die and why?
So she said that the ones she submitted were from last week, but that's fine. We'll just pretend
Oh, they
like
were?
we didn't fail.
I
And
didn't see them. I checked
I thought we
last
read
time. It
questions
wasn't.
last time.
Yeah.
Hmm.
No, I checked. I don't know.
Anyway,
Maybe it's because they were
regardless,
checked. I don't know.
we're gonna answer them now, Jess. So who do you guys think will die?
Originally, I would have said Alejandro just because of how much trouble he was causing with Lindsay. But after the blood bond, not so much anymore. So I think it's more likely that I'll be the one that dies.
I
Now, do
I
we
don't.
think? Sorry, go ahead. I won't. I'll ask.
For some strange reason, I don't think it's gonna be anyone from the Quartery. I think it's gonna be a very important NPC, that, just to shake things up.
Like Colette.
Because it.
I'll put that
Wow.
idea in my
Wow.
head. I can't kill Colette.
I mean, no, I'm not talking just Colette. It could be Lindsay. It could be the Prince. It could be anyone at this point. Like, they have the targets. They targeted 4 vehicles. It could be Ashley. It could be Penelope. It could be anyone.
True.
Like, I feel like it's gonna be an NPC.
It's gonna
that's
be
more-
me.
It's gonna be
I mean,
me.
In a couple of days, it is gonna be me.
Sorry, I had to.
But I feel like it right now, as weird as this sounds, it's kind of like Alejandro might be the safest.
I think you're right on that.
All I can think of is Britney Spears right now.
that's in
Oh
sync.
baby, baby.
Oh, I thought it was the.
That's what I was quoting.
NSYNC one. It's
What?
gonna be me. No.
No, she's like, no. Anyway.
You're also giggly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's fine.
It's fine, guys. We're doing great.
I'm tired. I'm not gonna say sorry for it. This is what you're getting today. is NSYNC in world. Oh boy, God.
Oh, God.
Not yet, but they are now. No.
Here now.
Right?
It's gonna be me.
Imagine if it was Catalina. I mean, I can't speculate too much because it's my story.
You're the
But
storyteller.
if we're just thinking about like the coterie and everything that's happening with the coterie, I've said this time and time again that I think that if someone is gonna die, it would be Sparta, just because it would be him triggering something stupid.
Exactly. He'll push the button. He'll push the wrong button.
Yeah. So
Yeah, I think of our group, like the rogue is definitely Steve's character.
as I think I could
Harder.
see him getting himself into some type of situation that he might not necessarily get out of, or like the roles just going south and fucking him. Because that's another thing is like I'm not gonna ever like purposely kill your characters. I don't want to kill your characters. You know what I mean? Unless it's like
Usually
something
not.
we agree on or something. Like if you're like, no, like I would like to end the season this way and I want Nyx to die, I'd be like, okay, cool. But I'm not gonna like purposely kill your characters. But your characters might die as consequences to your actions, because I'm not gonna, you know, fluff roles and shit. You know what I mean? So those are situations that you never know. And the thing with Sparta is he just runs full force into danger all the time. Oh my God, you have a Sparta button.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that's it. He's always pressing the red buttons without like thinking about what the red button is gonna cause. So the thing is that who is gonna be stronger, Sparta or the red button that he pushed without really knowing what he was doing?
Right.
So for now, it's worked in Sparta's advantage, but again, like Jenna was saying, you never fucking know.
Never know. When it comes to rolling,
Oof.
you can't determine how that shit's gonna turn out. You might roll really horribly. You might roll really great. Your enemies might roll really great. You never know.
Can vampires regrow limbs? So if you get an arm chopped, you can just like put it back together.
Yeah. So like if you find your arm, you can like hold them together and it will heal back together.
It will heal back.
Took, did you poop?
But that's aggravated damage, and it's probably gonna take like a few days for it to mend together.
It smells really bad.
But if you don't find it, I think you're fucked.
Did you like poop over
I don't
here?
think you can grow a whole like ass arm back.
Oh, wait a minute. I think there's poop. Duke, did you poop on me?
Cyber arm?
No, I don't.
Are you okay?
No, you know what?
Do you have poop on your butt?
If I lose a limb, I'm gonna go and kill Wesley Snipes and just grab his arm.
Oh yeah, I guess you could like maybe grab another arm from somebody else.
Because it would technically.
Yeah, I guess technically that would work.
Yeah, I guess it would work. You know, just go grab a fucking different arm, I guess.
Like, hey, can I borrow your arm?
Hey, I'm
what?
just like gonna take this dead man's arm real fast. Just put it in there. Doesn't matter.
That'd be kind of interesting. I wonder if you could do that.
Okay.
I mean, it would make sense. I feel like if the
Yikes. You're like
limb is not
Frankenstein.
completely, like,
Frankenstein
exposed,
vampire.
you know what I mean?
Sure.
If it's like
yeah.
in a morgue and it's a fresh body and it's not decomposing or anything, I feel like it would be possible.
Interesting thought. I feel like it would be too, but weird.
As long as it's not the head, right? Yeah, no, if a vampire is decapitated, it's one
They're
of
dead.
the few ways to completely kill permanently a vampire.
The only ways
not coming
vampires
back.
die is by fire and by decapitation.
Decapitation, yeah.
That's it. It's the only two
That's it.
ways to kill them.
No, sun.
Well,
Sun,
fire.
and effective.
That's basically the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, sunlight. If like they stay in the sunlight, they will die.
Yeah.
They'll start on fire. I don't know if
They'll
that's
literally
actually
catch
what
on fire.
happens. But
Combustion, auto combustion.
and then they turn to ash. They turn to nothing. So there's literally no way to save a vampire once they're dead because they disintegrate.
They dead. They completely dead.
I died. I
They're
did. I
just dust in
did.
the
I
wind.
died. I did. I did. I died. Name that movie. Does anybody know what that's from?
No.
Finding Nemo.
I had never watched it.
Oh my god.
I haven't watched that since I was a kid.
I don't think I watched the first Nemo in English.
Anyway. I agree with you, Nikolai. There are worse things to do to a character than death.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think Sparta would be the one person to die. Especially by how things have ended up with Alejandro, because like Sparta said, this like twist. And to be honest with you, me doing the blood bond was my way of not killing Alejandro. Because I was like, at a certain point, these people are either going to kill him or banish him from the city and be like, okay, you need to go. You know what I mean? Like, eventually they're not going to put up with it. And they're just going to be like, okay, you got to go. You're not really even a member of the city. Like, time to move along. See you later. So I was like, this is my way of not having him get killed or kicked out of the city entirely. Just because I was like, eventually it's not going to make sense for these characters like Lindsay to continue to put up with this kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And kind of like brush it off and put it aside. So I was like, this is my way of like making that not happen. And then because because, okay, so this is just to explain the reasoning behind, because some people were like, but he didn't do anything wrong like that session. Like Lindsay basically was like, this is your final warning, right? And then Lindsay left. Well, if you paid attention to what was going on, Penelope shows up the next morning, first thing, and goes upstairs and has a private conversation with Colette, who is pissed off at Alejandro and is like, this guy's a traitor. He wants to leave all of the time. We can't trust him. This is all the stuff going on in her mind. I don't want him here. So what happened, like story-wise, and this is probably won't ever come out in character. If it does, you'll just pretend like you didn't hear this. Colette told Penelope everything that was going on, and then she told Penelope about what he said in the car that night, and basically was trying to paint him as, this is not somebody that we can trust in the times that we are in right now. He literally said in so many words that he would be willing to work with the enemy if he had something to gain from it. So that's not somebody we can trust. And that's how Colette painted Alejandro to Penelope. Then that whole idea of how Alejandro was behaving and all that whole mindset that Colette had was presented to Lindsay, which was a result of what happened and him being staked and taken and dealing with Lindsay. And then obviously Lindsay, there was some sort of conversation with Lindsay and Catalina, because Lindsay touched on it when she said, like, apparently, or for whatever reason, Catalina said you can stay. You know what I mean? Like, so Lindsay clearly went to Catalina and was like, this guy either shouldn't be in the city anymore, like with everything that's going on, like we can't trust him. And Catalina waved it off and didn't give Lindsay permission to either kill him or be like, he is banished from our city.
I think that's what I've been actually curious about. Why? Like, what does Catalina sort of like? Why is she laying definitely an outsider that has been causing a lot of shit? Because let's be honest, I've been having fun causing shit. Not, I'm not gonna lie. But you know, I kind of like poking the bear. Um, but it still
You know,
is kind of like,
Didn't notice.
Right?
yeah,
um,
couldn't notice it. Didn't notice it.
I know, right? But but I'm still kind of intrigued why the reasoning behind for Catalina to say no. This guy is gonna live. This guy is gonna still be around.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, like, will that be at some point revealed in the story? That's only storyteller who will actually know. So I don't want to, like, if you have an idea why, I don't want to hear it, because I feel like that could be a massive reveal in the actual
Well, I mean,
story.
if they want to speculate or the chat, sure, go for it. I mean,
Mhm.
it will be something that eventually is revealed, like why Catalina keeps making the decisions that she's making. Because that has been brought up in multiple conversations of like why Catalina seems to be this like incredibly fierce, like no bullshit character. Like, why is she putting up with all of these different things? Um, so it is definitely something that can be speculated on other parts.
Because
Like, is she being manipulated by somebody else? Like, does she not care? Like, is she not really in control? Is there somebody else controlling things? Like, there's so many things that could be going on. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there's loads of shit that could be happening that you guys have no, because you guys don't have access to Catalina. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have your group doesn't get close enough to her to know.
Nothing to Catalina, honestly, though. So, like, you know.
So yeah, there's lots of things that could be happening.
Mhm.
I did think about that, and the best option that I found is that there's somebody like behind the scenes that she actually listens to it for some reason and is arguing on our behalf to put up with us.
I mean, it's already been shown once, right?
Yeah.
Like, it was shown the first day that there is, you have Ronaldo that
True.
literally stood up for Knicks to not get killed because Catalina was like, nah, she did.
Yep.
Fine.
Yeah, Catalina was ready and willing to uphold that tradition of, if you create a childer without permission to do so, then you make the punishments of doing that. And Ronaldo is the one who stepped in and stopped her. So that's the thing, is like, is there somebody stepping in and stopping her behind the scenes that you guys don't know?
Don't
Mhm.
know. Yeah.
You know what I
I don't
mean?
know if she's being manipulated though. Catalina doesn't seem the sort to be manipulated. I feel
I
like it
mean,
would
there's
be somebody that is close to her and that she trusts enough to listen to.
Yeah. And another
as
thing
though
is too is Catalina is a very political person. So she might be making these decisions for other political reasons that don't make sense to other people, because that's how her mind works. And her mind, she's a very meticulous, political, strategic person. And other people that don't have those skills and haven't practiced those skills for as long as she has may not be able to see the big picture that she sees. So it could be some big political thing. And you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, is like, the coterie doesn't have access to her or even anyone close to her other than, I guess you could say, Lindsay, to be able to even answer any of those questions in character right now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is fun to
so
speculate what's happening.
it's definitely fun to speculate, and I want to hear the viewers' point. What you guys think? Why is she letting these four um that fucks up time after time after time, and one that's literally just been an absolute asshole since the day he came because he doesn't stand if Camarilla still be able to survive. And he hasn't exactly hidden the fact that Alejandro didn't hide the fact that I'm not really comfortable here. I fucking hate it here, but I'm doing a job. But I am gonna talk shit.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't held back in that department. That's for sure.
That is for sure.
I think that what was I gonna say? I don't remember. Whatever it wasn't important. I had a thought that was something different. I don't know. It's gone. Whatever. What did you guys hiccup brain fart? Yeah, and I was trying real hard to remember. What did you guys think of the whole performance and gallery and everything like that? And like just the coterie having, even though they were on edge the entire time, having like doing something like normal for once.
What's this normal you talk about?
I mean, it was it was just a normal thing to
we
do.
went to see a performance.
Yeah.
Nothing like super weird or empirical happened apart from like the quote unquote fake wine,
Yeah.
But everything else, it's like, yeah, we went to see a performance art piece, like type of thing.
Exactly. I really liked it just because it showed that not everything is complete chaos and it's going to be, everybody's going to be a hard ass all the time. You get to see a different side of the characters that up until now we've only seen the one side of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. Everyone was relaxed. They were chilling. They were happy. They were sitting and having casual conversations.
Not me, to be honest. TBH.
I mean, the people that were there. I'm not talking about the group. I'm talking about the people that you've never seen in a relaxed situation.
I know. Like Catalina was chilling. She was smiling and having conversations like a regular person.
Yeah.
Without like having her heavy ass threatening aura on at all times.
I also think that it's important to note that is the first time you guys have even seen Catalina talk to anyone like that. Mm-hmm. Every time you've seen Catalina, she's been like up in front of everybody like a leader. Yeah. Whereas she was just sitting and talking to her best friend.
I was actually very surprised that no one took the chance and went and talked to her.
I'm not. I wouldn't have went and talked to her. I'd be like talking to like the president.
I'm like, no. Literally, she almost made me shit myself if I was alive. I am honestly not ever gonna even look at her. Like, niggas like, oop.
I mean, it's not like you have a choice.
I cannot look.
I can't
look. It's too scary.
It's too scary.
Just off the interactions we've had with her, I don't think it would make sense for any of the characters to go talk to her.
I think the only person that maybe would be Colette, just because she's been around longer, so she's probably had more interactions and different interactions, but I don't think Colette even has that type of relationship with her to like be like, oh hey, how you doing? No,
it's literally like no.
It's like she's my boss's boss and she could have me killed, so yeah, I'm gonna like be respectful and acknowledge her if she acknowledges me, but I'm gonna like sit over here and hope she doesn't look at me.
With that fucking
Exactly.
intimidating ass look.
uh, but yeah, no, I thought it was fun to have them, like, have her and Imani just like sitting there like two little best friends. And it's so funny because like in my mind, Imani and Catalina are like, because they're so old, like I like picture them as like old women, but they don't look like old women.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like they're both very young and
Well, yeah, they're
attractive.
vampires,
So it's
so
like, but in my head, it's like all of their mannerisms and stuff. And like when I picture them doing things in their head, it's like as if like these two little old ladies who've been best friends their whole lives. Like, but I'm like, that's not at all like what is actually happening in front of me. Like they're stunning and beautiful and gorgeous and look really young. Because I think both of them were turned in their like early 20s. I would have to look at my notes to know for sure, but they're both like in their early 20s and they're just like stuck in that age forever.
for
So
centuries.
And it
even
was pretty funny with Ashley after the performance, how she was doing her thing, and then Sparta and Nyx walk up to her and start talking about blood sprinklers. That part was pretty funny.
she's like,
That moment was actually pretty hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. And just like,
what the fuck?
no, because it's gonna ruin everything. Fuck that
She's like,
shit.
have you ever
I'm
been
like,
to my house?
okay,
That would
sorry.
have
Yeah, like I like
that
how Nyx
would have
was
been
trying to
interesting.
explain like it's a movie, and Ashley's like, no.
No, Ashley was not having it at all. And yeah, no, at a certain point, I got the hint. I was like, wait, you know what? Like, just
Never mind.
don't think,
Ignore me.
don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. It's fine. It is what it is. Just an
Yeah,
idea. I was like, just an
that
idea.
because it hasn't been revealed in character, but Ashley's a couple hundred years old. That bitch didn't see Blade. Like, I mean, yeah, she keeps up with technology and stuff because I made it that way because I was like, it would make sense, you know, from her, like, who she is. But I was just like, no, she's not up with the times that much to, like,
No.
know pop culture that well.
the, the funny thing is, like, that would be something Alejandro would have facepalmed at. Like, you're fucking kidding me,
True.
aren't you? But he was outside. He was already like out the door doing
Yeah,
his
he didn't see
own
this
thing.
movie reference because like Nikolai
He,
Alejandro hates it. Hates it. Like there was a huge fight like the first or second like episode where he literally like attacked Nyx for like her like comparing something to movie to a TV show. He
Yep.
he
lost
hates
his
it.
shit. He lost his shit. He hates it. He hates it every time she compares something to a movie.
Yeah.
And that is honestly her only way to make sense of things. So it's hilarious. He hates it and she keeps doing it all the fucking time. And at least I have like a fairly young vampire that has been immortal for only 2 years. So actually was
He does it
around
too.
and he also understands what Nyx goes through a little bit, even though he's been dealing with, you know, immortality for a few years more than what Nyx has been going through. But we still can connect like that, but it's pretty hilarious. Can we get an Alejandro groan?
Sake. No, but
Yep.
but that's the thing. Like, that's I guess that's Nyx's way to poke Alejandro.
No, she's not trying to poke anybody.
Like,
She's just trying to make sense of things. Like Alejandro wasn't around for the blade thing. She just brought it
oh
up.
my god.
Like Ashley
Yeah,
was there.
he would have definitely just facepalmed like again with this shit.
No, it's just her way of like making sense of shit.
Yeah.
The shit that she knows. It's what she knows at the end of the day.
Yeah.
It's what
That's
she's
like
comfortable
what
with.
Colette, when we were in that cigar place when that happened, and Nick stormed out because Alejandro freaked out on her, and then Alejandro and Colette had a little heart to heart, and she was like, she's just relating this new world to the only thing she knows what to relate it to. Like, you don't have to be so fucking rude. It's fine. Who cares if she relates it to a movie? Then tell her she's wrong and correct her. Like, help her understand. But yeah, that's
Yeah,
Nyx's
but
way
that has
of
been
making
definitely a
sense.
thing. Yeah.
Oh yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. For sure. What was the second question on your little list from Jess?
Second question. It is. Oh yeah, I think it's my favorite one actually. What has your character taught you so far?
Hmm. What has your character taught you so far?
That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I think for me, what my character has thought to not freak out if a big change happens to him. Because I was actually kind of freaking out last week when when the blood bond was doing. Um, it freaked me out, and I talked to Jenna about it, and I was like, kind of been debating how to play Alejandro this whole week till I started remembering a little bit things that I have been part of, and I have done and changes that I have done with my GTA main character, which made it a little bit more easier. But yeah, I was a little bit freaked out at first.
I guess I think it's easier to say what hasn't Sparta taught me because this is my first time ever RPing, so it's all new to me. I've definitely learned to be more adaptable, but I mean, it he's literally taught me how to RP. So as far as just how to play the character, don't try to stick with one thing like because you don't know what's going to happen. Your character has to grow. If you're just the same thing all the time, that's going to get boring. So I would
And
say
it's also unrealistic, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
exactly. So I would say just to be adaptive, like just to be adaptive and not be afraid to change.
Oh, I love that.
It's a good lesson to learn.
I think what my character is trying to teach me, it makes me very uncomfortable, is to not like necessarily want to be in control because Nyx doesn't know shit.
Mm-hmm.
And I like to be in control. And I'm not comfortable when I don't have it, especially knowing things and having to sit back.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. I think that's been a learning curve for me because I don't like it. That's why like I brought it up actually, guys. I was like, should I just murder Nyx and like bring my fucking elder Malkavian in
Right?
and do that? Because we would have a stealth character that we need.
No, we don't need a stealth character. We just need to be creative and
No,
decisive.
exactly. But like for
Yeah.
me, that is like, it's the easier way. I can
Right.
just like come in with the character that could teach everybody and like take over leading and like wouldn't be meeting NPCs or anything, you know, or whatever. But I'm like, but this is not the point. This is not what I wanted to do.
Yeah.
So yeah, it has forced me to chill my tits a little bit.
Well, let me pull up my list of characters and no, I'm just kidding. So from Catalina, I've learned this. From Lindsay, I've learned this. No, I'm just kidding. I don't feel like I can really answer that question. I think being a storyteller, I'll answer it from that point of view because that's what I am. From being a storyteller and doing all of this, especially doing this for the first time, because this is my first time ever leading any type of tabletop campaign. It's taught me, it's sort of, I've always known I was a creative person, and I've always known, like, because I've been writing like poetry and short stories and even like novels and things like that since I was like 15, and it's always like been something I've done, just always. And it's never been something that I like spent a lot of time thinking about the fact that I can do it. You know what I mean? It was just like something I can do. Yeah, it's just something I can do. But I feel like doing this and having this experience has like really shown me how special that creativity is, and how special like having that type of mind that can like create these things and create these scenarios and all of these different characters and like just everything that it takes to create something like this. Because another thing to think about is like a lot of, especially like bigger campaigns, the main storyteller, dungeon master, and things like that, they're not necessarily the only ones writing for the show and writing the material. There's usually like other people helping and things like that. But it's just me in my mind, you know what I mean? And like just going through this whole process has taught me that, and the like how it's made me appreciate my creativity. And it's made me want to pursue that creativity more, and showcase it in other ways and things like that. And it like makes me want to celebrate it, I guess you could say. Whereas before it was just like it just was like nothing I never really thought about or spent, you know what I mean? Spent that much time considering. So it's just made me like appreciate that part of myself a little bit more, which I'm thankful for.
I love that.
And you've been killing it.
Yeah.
I know, I'm awesome.
You are. No regrets.
Yeah, it's been a blast, and I've had a lot of fun. Too much fun. Because I'm like, I can't get enough. One thing that never mind. Well, we can talk about that later.
Put a note down so you remember.
I will, because it's kind of important. I just don't know.
Now.
I just don't know if. No, I mean I will remember. I just don't know if we're gonna talk about it in front of them. I don't know if it needs to be something that needs to be talked about.
Them.
No, I mean.
Sheesh.
Wow, Jesus. Sorry, guys.
Okay,
Sorry,
you
guys.
guys didn't need to take it
Sorry,
there.
like-
You guys took it there, not me. Thanks
Hey,
for getting second-handed offended for no reason. Calm down, Karen.
Here's something, okay?
Um,
No, I want to talk to your supervisor right now.
Well, I'm my own supervisor, so fuck you, guy.
The supervisor, actually.
You can kiss my ass.
He is the supervisor. Yes, he is.
One thing that we usually talk about is moments that surprised us. So I don't know if there was, well, I guess you guys, I feel like there was I feel like you guys were anticipating a lot to this going into this stream. So,
I can start.
moment that
start.
surprised
So,
you.
My father is dead.
Oh yeah,
My
forgot
niece
about that.
is in the ICU. We are dealing with a La Sombra. We don't know this in game, but we're dealing with the fucking La
Hey,
Sombra.
baby.
You know, the fucking whatever, like, curtain of darkness that was suffocating you guys? That's a La Sombra discipline. Oblivion.
It's not
okay?
even.
What back in
Go
the
ahead.
day was known as obtenebration. Now we have Oblivion. So that didn't even fucking come out yet. I'm so, like, that's when, okay, I'm gonna put this one in the question. So we can,
She's
get
like
back to it.
shooketh right now. She can't even.
No, you have
You
no
can't
idea.
even
Whenever-
form a whole thought.
I can't because, like, whenever you brought it up, so La Sombra is actually a clan that I've always wanted
I
to play.
remember you saying that.
Because they're very interesting. They're like ruthless versions of, like, kind of scary, like, between almost like a Tremere and a Ventru had a baby.
Yeah, that's a really good way to say it.
And, like, it's kind of darker. Like, they are climbers. They are social climbers, and they do anything and everything to get what they want. And they're very interesting, like, clan, and I never got the chance to play it. And they've brought it up in a different context now, and it makes so much sense. And I'm like, oof, this is it. This is the person. This is the ultimate one, I think, in my opinion. So I'm gonna put this.
It's my opinion.
See, I thought the whole darkness thing was the Tremere thing.
No, baby, that is another clan, Clan La Sombra.
See, that's the thing. One thing are you done making your note? I don't want to bunny trail too hard because you're still answering. But one thing that I want to say while she's noting her thoughts is we're playing obviously version 5, right? Is that what it is? Version 5? V5? And in older versions, there were other clans, and like La Sombra, for example. But it doesn't say anywhere that you can't bring those clans or those disciplines and shit like that into your V5 campaign. Yep. You know what I mean? Like, true. It's not just because they don't exist as a playable character doesn't mean they don't exist. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, they're probably, I mean, you can decide that as a storyteller. Maybe clan is gone
now. La Sombra clan is introduced in the Chicago by Night. I checked I actually downloaded all the PDFs if you want them. I have them.
Okay.
I was looking the other night.
Oh boy.
After our session, and I was reading through it because I wanted to see how they restructured the La Sombras.
Mm-hmm.
Because La Sombras left the Sabbat, and now we're trying to social climb the fucking Camarilla ladder in their own fucking La Sombra fucking
way,
like lawful evil way. So, like, you know, they're kind of scary. They're kind of scary, and like a good La Sombra, like, will take over. Like, those motherfuckers have dominate, oblivion, and fortitude. Good luck.
Have fun with that.
Yeah, have fun with that shit.
So yeah. So anyway, go ahead and continue with your answer.
What else I was excited about? No, I think those are literally, like, the things that were the most, I don't know, exciting or shocking or something. Like, I wasn't expecting to see a La Sombra, honestly. And I started to think that we were bringing a La Sombra as soon as you were, like, in your memory, you couldn't figure out. It was blurry. It was a shadow, and I'm like,
oh shit.
Shadows, you say? What kind of shadows? And then, like, the fucking curtain of oblivion, whatever.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
touch of oblivion.
It's a fucking La Sombra. I knew it. I felt it in my gut. As soon as you did that premonition thing, I was like, no, she's not bringing a La Sombra, is she? And then she did. And I was like, yes. But I was like,
Surprise,
"God damn it, I
bitches."
really want to fucking play La Sombra so bad.
These two have no idea what the fuck's going on.
Yeah,
Still don't.
I had no idea. I thought
Oh,
it was
in
just
game?
a premiere.
Well, yeah, in game. But I mean, even out of character, they're like, what? What is that? But yeah, Las Sombras are very interesting. And even the discipline Oblivion is very interesting. Like, the shit you can do with that is... I was like, okay, yeah, these are things that are happening in our game. Because these things are fucking cool. Like, I wish that was a discipline like we could, because Catalina would have some of this shit. She would have Oblivion if it was like a part of our, which I mean, let's just say,
Camarilla,
yeah,
but you know, it's recent times that the La Sombra have been coming
Right.
over to the
right,
so she wouldn't.
right, she
They would
wouldn't.
just murder each other.
Yeah, they're like mortal enemies. But
literally mortal enemies, especially Ventru and La Sombra. They're
Yeah.
so similar.
they wouldn't get along because they would see each other as threats, for sure. 100%. Which is really interesting because now, I mean, thanks for like blowing my entire cover. But yeah, there is a La
Right.
Sombra connected in some way to all of the shit that's going on. And La Sombras, much like Ventru's, they strive for power and control.
They want all the power.
And now, out of character, it might start to make more sense as to why this is going on into this city and someone's trying to overthrow this very powerful Ventru, super political, strategic-minded person, and how they are possibly getting away with it because La Sombras are just as equally as strategic and political. They're just a little bit more scary about it. And menacing about it. Whereas like a Ventru, so think about it this way, a Ventru, especially like those who are striving like in the political world, they usually are connected to the human world in some way. Like it's like mimics human politics almost. And they're usually like, they might even like try to rise in some sort of political aspect in the human world, but it's obviously mostly in your own world as kindred. So you can think about it like that. Whereas like La Sombra, they want the same things, but they don't go about it in the same way that a Ventru would do it and like kind of rise and go up like the ladder and put in the work and do things like that and shit. If you think that Catalina is scary in thinking of how she has risen to her point and probably manipulated and used people and threatened people and used fear and all of these things as her tactics, like La Sombra is like 10 times more scarier than that approach.
Oh yeah,
because they're just
no
scared.
moral
Yeah,
codes at all.
exactly. They have like no moral code, whereas like Catalina does.
It's super interesting. Like they need to succeed in what they want to do because if not, they will receive penalties. Literally.
Yeah, they're
like,
very,
they need
very
to succeed
interesting.
at their like goal, no matter what.
At whatever cost.
At whatever cost, it doesn't matter at that point. So they're pretty scary. They're completely ruthless.
Yeah, they're cool. Anyway, I like them.
Yeah, they're really interesting.
So, yes, there is a La Sombra in town. Time to wake up, bitches.
Right?
And the reason why I did that is because I was like, if I'm going with this storyline of somebody trying to overthrow the leadership in this city, while yes, it could be possibly like another Ventru or something like that, you know, like trying to rise to power. Um, I was like, who could successfully combat Catalina? And that's when like the wheels in my mind started going and I started like looking up certain things and I was like,
Oh,
okay.
very interesting. Very interesting.
But yeah, La Sombras are really cool. I would suggest reading up on them if you're curious. They're very interesting characters for sure. And the discipline of oblivion is
No joke, that's for sure.
awesome. I want it. I want, like, to be able to do these things to people.
Well, at least it's not Simisi.
Could be worse.
Could be worse.
She's gone mad with the power. No, it's contained for now.
For now.
But yeah, no, it's going to be interesting to see in the long run how is this going to impact the city. You know, because right now this is like a true diehard Camarilla city. Is it going to stay that way? Only time will tell. Let's see how many more people have to die in the process. We've only got like what, seven thin
Humans,
bloods?
all of it.
We've only got like 7 thin bloods left, you guys. Really? They've been killing the thin bloods, and there were only 8 left, and another one of them died. So there's literally only 7 thin bloods left.
I need to understand why the fuck they're murdering all the thin bloods.
Yeah, that'll be something that comes with time too.
Running thin in blood, yeah, literally, Nikolai. Literally running thin in blood, yeah, for sure.
Okay, what about the rest of you? What are your surprising moments?
And like you said, we all kind of went into this expecting something to happen. So I wouldn't say there was anything like super shocking. The closest I would say was when Colette got shot and Nyx disappeared. I was like, oh no, what the hell's gonna happen? But as far as like, nothing really shocked me. It was more, it worried me.
I think it wasn't really much that shocked because everyone is like Sparta said, everyone is still in high alert. Like Alejandro had the mentality that something is gonna happen at this party. Like me as a player was thinking, oh shit, here comes a fucking explosion from stage, isn't it? Isn't that shit gonna happen?
Oh yeah.
Like I was literally waiting for like a bomb or something to be dropped at the stage. Um, but I think like shocking. I don't think there was much that shocked me. Um, yeah, I think there wasn't like there wasn't like a heavy shock factor. I mean, I guess going into that mist of darkness was kind of like shocking that we couldn't breathe. Probably was the most shocking thing because it was like nothing that I can think of that would
I got Alejandro to push the button.
like I was gonna
Oh
let you
yeah,
go in
also
there.
obviously at the very very end we had a kind of like a pep talk, Alejandro pep talk
Yeah, that was actually
happening. That was definitely kind of like, okay, he's getting soft. Also, no, yes, there was the moment where he's like, I didn't want to get attached to anybody.
And Alejandro realizes that
But
now, and that
I
is
guess it's
something that actually
happening. It's happening.
it's happening, and it's scaring him at the same
Yeah.
time because he
Hmm.
knows what that implies,
Yeah.
and he said it to
So
the group as well.
hearing that, obviously Nyx didn't hear it because she was screaming in the
Jim.
throwing punches in the gym. But Sparta was there. He heard it.
I
was very
think
surprising.
I think a surprising moment for me was when Alejandro started crying. Whenever he like when the realization and like all of the adrenaline of everything that was going on kind of faded away and he like realized how hurt Colette actually was. I think that was surprising
Yeah,
to
and I
me.
think that's when he realized that he actually
I win.
had that
Hmm.
he actually cared,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
he was like,
that's
"Fuck, I failed," right?
and it's like it's kind of weird because like for
I
for
couldn't
Nyx and
keep
Sparta
myself away.
for Nyx and Sparta it would be the same, but I
Our
think
win. Our win. No, no, no,
and it
baby.
begins. Shit, she saw me. I gotta go.
Don't do
The
that, baby.
fuckery.
But I think like
Hey, baby.
if you think of the quarterly, how Alejandro reacted, I think it would more than likely be Colette that would probably get the strongest like reaction
Mm-hmm.
because of they're the same. Not now. I'm not saying that he wouldn't, cry for Nyx or Sparta, but it's gonna hit harder for him. He doesn't know about what Colette did and what she told and all that shit, but like it hits him harder because he knows he's an outsider and he knows that Colette it's still a sister, quote unquote sister, right? We come from the same, pretty much the same bloodline, so it hits him harder, and that whole small monologue that when he was alone, he was like typical anime raining sad boy moment. I guess you could call it. I didn't
Mm-hmm.
even realize that at the time.
No, but
I
I
mean,
liked that happened. Um, I think that there's a lot of layers to why he had that realization. Like there's lots of things. I'm sure not only does he have his connection with her because they're both Brujas and very clearly he takes that seriously. You can tell he's a very proud Bruja. He's very proud of his clan and connected to his clan, and it's sort of a big part of his identity. So you have like that aspect. Then you have the aspect of, they both were in the same field professionally when they were in their human lives. And like that aspect of like probably bringing up memories of him losing, partners and people
Mm-hmm.
in action, you know what I mean? And this is like bringing up a big point for him of like, we're in that situation again. It's like we're working together like as if he did when he was in the police force and somebody has fallen, in the middle of a mission. Like there's lots of things I'm sure that are happening for him. You know what I mean? It's not just one thing. It's not just the fact that she's hurt. It's like there's so many other layers, and I think that's how I saw it, and that's what I
Mm-hmm.
appreciated about of that moment is I was like surprised that it was happening, and I was like, whoa. But then I was like, this is really cool because this shows the layers that Alejandro has to him that he hasn't emotionally shown to the group because he hasn't allowed himself to expose himself in that way, and
And
this was like the first time he did that.
it's like it's not really like you know it's not him showing weakness.
No.
It's like he's just trying to, like, with Colette being shot in the way she was, like Jenna was saying, the same field that they were, you know, and Alejandro did tell about one of the people that he lost that literally got tortured in front of him before she passed away in the OR.
Mm-hmm.
Like she died at the medical table,
Or when?
and I'm not sure if he told the story to Nyx and Sparta and all of them, or it was just Sparta. I don't
It was
because
just
he did.
Sparta.
I
Yeah,
think
I
it
think
was just Sparta.
he told the story about like how he was standing face to face with someone, didn't take a shot, and that person eventually killed his partner. So those memories started coming up, and it was, everyone knows that Alejandro is extremely in touch with his human side to the point he doesn't really drink off vampires. No, humans. Wow. Um, so it was just so much that happened, so much that's been going on for him. Every and this shows the fact that everyone, as tough as you are, you will break at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Something's gonna happen, and it's kind of weird, but it's kind of realistic as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree. Okay, what's our next question for
So
the
next
questions from
question
Jess?
is we know that Travis is connected to Isaiah in some way. How do you feel about this, and where do you think this connection is going to?
I, I mean, the big question is, in what shape is Travis connected to Isaiah? Obviously they're all Toreadors. Oh my
I
god.
need a fucking pee, guys. I'm sorry. I'm like, I can't focus. My brain,
All right,
my
go,
my
go.
bladder is commanding me. Can't open brain. So
Now, I was thinking, like, what if Nyx and Travis is connected, and Isaiah embraced Travis as well as Nyx?
I never thought of that actually. Well, that would be a
Full on.
twist.
I mean,
For
it's not an
me,
impossibility.
true. Because we don't know anything about Isaiah. All we have is like an image of him.
And that he
So
embraced
we
Nyx.
don't know. And that he embraced Nyx. For me, I think he's definitely. I don't think so much that he's involved with, like, personally to Nyx, but he's definitely not alone because he is pretty high up there. If he has access to Ashley, Ashley's a force to be reckoned with in the city. And if he has access to her and she and him were friends, like, how many other higher ups are involved and working together like this to overthrow the city, basically?
Mm-hmm.
And who haven't we seen? Like, what if there's somebody close to Catalina herself? Because we haven't found Travis either, so clearly he's getting some help from somebody. So I think that Travis is not alone, and he's getting help from somebody higher up than he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because otherwise, Lindsay or even Catalina would have caught him. I mean, we haven't had a chance to explore that yet, but he's definitely not somebody to be taken lightly just because of the position he held. And because he hasn't been caught, there has to be more people. And now we have this Lasombra that I thought was a Tremere. So I thought there was somebody in that was close to Imani, is what my original thought was.
Stop, Arwen.
Because Ashley and Penelope, they're the heads of their domain, and Travis was friends with them. So if he has partners, it makes sense that they would also be close to some of like the other higher ups at the other domains. And when I saw that big old black cloud, I thought I was voodoo shit. So I was like, okay, it's Tremere. So are we about to discover somebody that's close to Amani? But now that Fen said it was a Lasombra, that's not the case.
Yeah.
But I do still think it's possible that
Well,
they infiltrated the domain.
we do have the other two mystery Tremere that were the little ghost Tremere. So who knows? Those people haven't been identified, and there hasn't been anything that's been followed up with Imani to let you guys know if those people have been identified. So your theory very well could be true. It just,
Plus,
yeah.
It could be several different clans members. And we're not talking about those white hooded guys, but we're talking about vampire clans. That could be.
plus if you're gonna
Jenna
take
just
over
got
a
it.
city, oh,
Oh, Jesus.
if you're gonna take over a city that you has 4 established clans, it makes sense that you're gonna have to take over each of those clans and put your own people in place. So you would get a Toreador that would be on your side. You would get a Malkavian, a Ventru, and
A Tremere.
Tremere. So you would have to get higher up, and Travis was higher up for the Toreador, but we don't know about the other. Sorry, my throat just got.
It's okay. Yeah, no, even though like you said, because your like initial thought was like, oh, this is a Tremere that's connected, and this is gonna like expose another person that's involved in all of this. Even though that didn't necessarily happen, that already was exposed with
True.
the 2 Tremere that were in the grave or in the cemetery. It's just there hasn't been any follow-up with that because there's no real reason for anybody to come to you guys and tell you that information. Like maybe if Ronaldo was still a part of your group, you would have heard. But you know what I mean? So it's like if Imani has identified who these 2 like rogue Tremere are that are working with whoever's doing this, it wouldn't have necessarily been passed on to you guys. You know what I mean? So, but that exposure potentially already happened that night at the cemetery. So we technically, your theory is still correct in a certain sense of Tremere has been exposed in the cemetery and Travis was exposed. So that's the Tremere and the Toreador. So who is the Ventru and who is the Malkavian? And the Ventru is probably incredibly strategic and isn't going to be exposed until a very crucial moment. If we're going with your theory, I'm spitballing with you. And so just knowing Ventru and how like strategically minded they are, like this person probably is not.
Even though of the 3 clans, if there wasn't any like one clan not involved with the coup, it would probably be Ventru, because if who is leading is an actual Lasombra, I don't
wouldn't
see
partner.
a Ventru working with a Lasombra, honestly, guys.
Yeah, they wouldn't partner with a Lasombra.
Unless it's something like a Ventru anti-tribe, which is like how they used to call the Ventru that would side with the Sabbat. Like I wouldn't see how that would happen, and it would kind of be weird if like Catalina didn't know, because Catalina being alive for most of the time where the Sabbat and the Camarilla were actually fighting actively always against each other, she would have probably known, like, you know, the older Ventru that were on the other side, because
Yeah.
there weren't that many.
But continuing with your theory,
But anyway,
the Ventru likely wouldn't be exposed, like I said,
Yeah.
until a very crucial moment.
yeah.
And then the Malkavians, they haven't been involved in anything, so who knows what could happen with the Malkavians?
I mean, apart from the fact that the fucking Malkavians were the ones that actually like
My
got
parents.
my peoples for their own shit, so you never really know with the Malkavians either.
well, I mean, they haven't been a presence in our city, so you have no information. So who knows
Oh yeah,
how
we
they
don't
would
have
be
any
exposed?
information, but the only
Mhm.
information that we know is that it was them that created the whole problem with my brother and caused my father's death and my niece's,
Mhm.
ICU thing to happen. So that wasn't necessarily the La Sombras or the purists.
That was a completely isolated event, didn't have anything to do with Travis and everything that's going on. They just wanted a favor from Catalina.
Yep.
And we're trying to capitalize on that.
Mm.
But yeah, so I think that your theory is a good one, and it potentially is already lining up with things that are happening. So who knows what would be exposed next? And like you said, if this is somebody trying to take over, it would make sense that they would slither their way into like each of these clans that are super established in this area. So then they have like people on their side and can help them take over. It also makes sense why everything has been so personal.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Because we've said that for a while now, that it's seeming to be like an inside job because of how personal everything is. And that it doesn't make sense that an outsider would be orchestrating all of this. Or if there was an outsider orchestrating all of this, then clearly they have some insiders helping them because they wouldn't know these really personal buttons to push.
Yep.
To throw everybody off their game. So
Exactly.
very interesting theory, and yeah, I think that it very well could be something that's happening. And we'll see. So what is your answer to that question, Finn?
No, I think it's definitely like whatever they were saying,
Nikolai.
like that's pretty much what I was thinking too, that there is definitely some more kindred involved. There's a lot of information and like all these people know where we are. Like they're always like a step ahead. Like, and again, the Camarilla, even just because most of the most powerful like fucking kindred don't use technology because they're scared of it, there has to be some sort of like missing links that we're not seeing at the moment. We found one, we found Travis.
Took.
But I definitely wouldn't be surprised if it was if we found other like rotten apples amongst the clans or amongst like the different territories.
So what was the question? The question, we know that Travis is involved. How do you feel about it, and how do you think he's connected?
Well, I think he's like one of the pawns. I don't know how he is connected, but he has to be maybe have been promised something. Maybe like, this La Sombra like convinced him that he was going to take over what the Galeo sisters have. Could be personal like that. It could be something like power or like, status.
He'll get control of the domain.
Mm-hmm.
We are. Nicola is right. We're giving way too many freaking ideas right now to our storyteller.
I already told you that we can have these conversations. I already know what's going to happen. I've already written the end. Literally. I wrote the end last week. I wrote the grand finale of our campaign last week. I already know what's happening. I already know what's coming. I mean, you guys could give me ideas to throw some little extras
boy.
in there, but I already know the end of this story. So we can theorize and speculate all you want. I think it's
And I
fun.
mean, how do I feel about it? I mean, feels bad, man, obviously. Like, that's not cool. Like, I feel bad for Ashley, honestly. Like, sheesh, girl. Like, okay, you're a couple 100 years old, but do you even know your people at this point? Sheesh. I wonder their relationship. Like, I started wondering about Travis's and Ashley's relationship and why Travis, if
Once,
he was like one of the closest people to Ashley, why is he turning, you know, his back against them in the Camarilla that is already set in the city, you know? So,
I
in
mean,
my
the,
opinion, it's my opinion. I think it's a power thing, you know? It's like, sheesh, like these bitches like control everything here, and like I'm just the like the sidekick, you know, that is there
Mhm.
when they want me to be there. And
Mhm.
yeah,
maybe
no,
he's
no,
fucking tired of that role.
Mhm.
no one
And
wants to be
somebody
Robin.
presented something better to him. And he's like, well, if you help me out, take those bitches out of the way, you can have that. All
Mhm.
that is yours.
I wonder how it's gonna affect, the different, like, how is this gonna affect Ashley when it comes out that Travis is working with the guy that has a freaking bloodhound on him? How will it affect, um, you know, how is it gonna affect Lindsay after pulling Sparta and Alejandro out, and she realizing what is going on?
I mean, we told her, so she
Yeah,
knows.
Lindsay already knows. Ashley doesn't know.
See,
Lindsay
I was
does know.
wondering about that because obviously Lindsay would start looking for Travis and she would inform Catalina. And if, because Ashley and Penelope are both sirens, I would think that Catalina would tell,
Harpies. But yeah.
yeah,
Harpies.
tell,
Yeah.
or yeah,
I
harpies.
knew what you meant.
I would think that Catalina would tell the sisters so that they could also keep their ears and eyes open to try to find him.
Not
Because that's
necessarily.
kind of,
I feel like as we were chatting the other night, like I don't think it's in anybody's interest for Ashley to throw a temper tantrum right now. And I think that's exactly what they know that she would do.
And she did.
Um and
She
she
did.
did, just for a fucking like car that had some like
Mm-hmm.
blood over it that can literally be, replaced anytime. It doesn't matter,
Mhm.
you know? So
Another
that is
I
thing.
honestly think that it's because of that they didn't tell her, because
Another
she
thing
is a
to
little
on the
consider
flip side.
is. Go ahead.
I say on the flip side, do you think Penelope knows? Because she doesn't throw fits.
I think she might know
She, I think
because
she
she
does know.
works like closely to Lindsay. Like we've seen it. She's
Mhm.
the one that
Mm-hmm.
brought Alejandro to her.
Mhm.
It wouldn't surprise me if she knew the information.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
She would have the
Oh, sorry.
information.
That's okay. That was my point. Was
Yeah.
Ashley isn't a political person in any
No.
means.
She does
She's
the
a
social front.
socialite, and she is all wrapped up in all of that and fulfills her role as Harpy in that way. And Penelope is too, to a certain extent, but Penelope is a lot different than her sister. So
She's the grunge.
Penelope
She's the
is
grunge chick from high school. Doesn't talk to many. Like, just talks to the people
Penelope
that she needs to
is
talk to.
likely the brains behind their group, and
That's what I was saying. Like I
yeah,
feel like she's like the brains and like Ashley's the face.
yeah,
Pinky.
exactly. So they might not have relayed the information to Ashley, but that's not to say that they haven't relayed the information to Penelope.
Especially because if you guys remember a few episodes ago when we were talking and we were waiting for Travis at their house, Penelope was like looking at Colette, and then they took a second to like talk. 100% Penelope knows.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh,
We didn't.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
There was a very specific reason Penelope was in that room. There was no reason for her to need to be there.
Mm-hmm.
She
agree.
was fishing. She was fishing,
Well, she doesn't need to
which also
fish.
likes.
But I guess like we answered both Travis together, like both
Mm-hmm.
Travis's questions together. Like, how do we feel about the connection? Why? And then, like, if there's other people connected
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
to
I mean,
Isaiah and the purists.
I was saying before you went to the bathroom or while you were at the bio break, I was saying Travis and Nick's are siblings now, because that's a possibility too. Because he's a Toreador.
But Isaiah could also be Travis's sire.
Mm-hmm.
Sheesh.
Might have a brother.
I
I
have
mean,
a
it
brother. He's
doesn't
tried to kill me.
matter. I feel like if Nyx will have her moment, she in her mind, she's going to be the one that is going to take out her sire. She hasn't really talked about it, but in her mind, that's
Mm-hmm.
what's going to happen.
Get some revenge.
Yeah, I've talked about it a few times. Like, both times I like introduced the session, that she's like very adamant about the fact that like he took everything that she had and she had built for such a long time without
Mm-hmm.
asking. And she wants to do that with him too, because fuck you. That's why.
Yep.
So, um, yeah, that's gonna be interesting also.
So, one thing that and we don't have to necessarily get into all of the discussion that we had after our session, but one thing that we talked to as a group after our session is the realization of how important Colette was to our group. And we kind of realized that in character and out of character, that when she wasn't there, when it was after the group left the gallery and went to the addresses, we realized how important she was for the decision making process for our group. So how do you guys think that will impact your group if something does happen to Colette? Like, not out of character, not like player wise, like actual in character, because I was saying, like, because out of character, it's a different story. Like, yeah, we don't want you to rely on NPCs and different things like that.
Right.
But in character, that's obviously a different thing, because obviously all of your characters rely on her, whether you realized it or not. You rely on her to be that leader and be the person making the decisions and getting the ball rolling and being the decisive one. Not to say she's made all of the decisions, obviously, but to be there in those moments to make sure that shit gets done. So how do you think that will affect your group if something does end up happening to Colette? Whether she dies or leaves or whatever the case may be. She was close to dying, just saying.
I think for at least for Alejandro, I think he might start stepping out because he's starting to get back to that detective mindset that okay, you have partners now, and the quarterly right now, he's he's the oldest one, and he has to like start going towards that mentality that he used to have when he was training new cadets, when he was training new officers, and having to take that role if something happens to Colette, which also kind of scares him because, again, his experiences of training people, seeing them die, and his still running around like, hey guys, you guys are dead, but I'm still alive and I fucking hate it. It's might end up being like that Alejandro takes back that detective cop cop role and just starts showing a bigger leadership. Like, okay, Colette's gone. We have something to focus on. We have to take down this problem because next time it could be you, Nix, it could be you, Sparta, it could be me. And right now, I of us three, I've been doing this shit for a longer time. So if I'm gone, then it's gonna leave you two. So that's something that could potentially happen with Alejandro. His mindset, because like we said earlier, his mindset is already starting to show certain changes.
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
For Sparta, if we lost Colette, it would break his heart just because of how family oriented he is, and we've all kind of started bonding, and he definitely feels a lot closer. Like he feels protective of everybody. So losing Colette would like completely mess him up. But he also likes to act. So if she wasn't there, I mean, he would probably start acting more, just because he does kind of look up to Colette. Now he may act more. It's probably not going to be always in the best way, but I could definitely see him trying just to be more like the alpha wolf, because that's what he like. He always in a wolf pack. There's always the one that all the other wolves look up to and will defer to them for the most part. But if that leader is gone, then another wolf has to step up and take over that role. And I could see Sparta trying to do that as well. Basically, trying to become the head of the family, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Is there gonna be a fucking like male challenge like going on like with fucking Sparta and Alejandro like trying to rise up to the fucking like leadership position? Fuck this shit. I swear, if there's some like fucking toxic masculinity, no matter what the fuck is gonna go down, I'm gonna be like, Nyx is like, I'm not listening to you or you. I'm like gonna go and like talk to Lindsay herself.
I can't see him picking a fight with Alejandro over it. Like he's because again, he considers it his family, so he's not going to act or do anything that would endanger that.
Says the guy that literally broke Alejandro's legs after giving him a tight squeeze as he
He
And
was
did
triggering
trying to
his
leave.
bane.
he did that out of love.
Right. Right.
I knew that he was gonna say that.
Right. I did that out of love. I'm gonna punch you in the face. Why the fuck did
But
you do
think
that?
about it. He didn't want Alejandro to leave. He's like Alejandro's trying to leave the group, and I've started to get close to everybody. Already lost all my other family.
I
I'm not
mean,
letting any more go. So he's like, "Nope, you're gonna stay. Love
oh my god,
us."
it's actually that thing kind of made me laugh actually when Alejandro turned around to Spartan and said, "Count to 50. Your 25 has been revoked."
Right?
50 now.
And Sparta does still listen to both Nyx and Alejandro. So I can't see him not listening.
I feel like he would still listen no matter who it was. So, I mean, he's listened to everybody that has put a word in edgewise when it comes to different situations. Like I said, it's not like it's just because Colette plays a leadership role doesn't mean she's been the only one that's had ideas and made decisions. It's just she's there if you sit in a car for 45 minutes talking about what your plan is. If Colette was there, you guys would have pulled up and she would have been like, this is what we're doing. And then you guys would have gotten out of the car and did it. So, and she probably wouldn't have necessarily started off that way. She probably would have presented it like, how do you guys want to do this? And then when no one was making a decision is when she would have been like, okay, this is what we're doing. Because that has happened. I try to always be like, okay, like, what do you guys want to do? Like, what's your plan? What's your idea? To, like, give you guys the control so that I'm not just, like, making all of the decisions. And then whenever, like, things aren't, like, progressing is whenever Colette will finally just, like, cut in and be like, okay, this is what we're doing. You go here. You do this. Don't touch the butt. Cool. And Colette would have just knocked on the damn door instead of Kool-Aid Manning through the fucking house, terrifying innocent people.
Right? The plan didn't go out the window. It went through the window.
Yes, it went right through the window. Yes.
Right. That's what I said.
Did not go out the window. So yeah,
I thought Santa was supposed to be coming out of the chimney, not through the damn freaking roof.
That's why I was like, when I kept saying, like, it was just getting worse and worse. Like, the ideas you guys were, like, bouncing off of each other. And I was just like, why did I hurt Colette? Why did I do this? Because I was just like, Colette needs to be there as the voice of reason and be like, no, we're not jumping through a 2-story fucking window, you idiot. Like, why nobody thought that was a bad idea? Like,
All agreed.
I was like, I mean, that would be interesting.
Like, we're in the middle of the fucking suburbs, people. Like,
I think the biggest reason why all of that happened was because we half heard what Lindsay said, and we're like, okay, we need to gather these guys up. Let's fucking go. They've been surprising us enough. Fuck it, we're gonna go with the element of which.
Oh yeah, no.
I mean,
we're gonna be the element of surprise.
We took that a little bit too literal.
God.
On the sense, like, go there and smash everybody and just grab everybody, and that was not exactly what we should have been doing, but it's okay, it's fine.
It's like the possibility of, you know, these people living normal lives hadn't even crossed your mind. Because that's the thing is, like, another thing is I can't remember what Predator style it is off the top of my head, but there's a certain Predator style where vampires will literally make human families and use them as their prey. And they have, like, a double life, and they just have this human family that they are just, that's their life, and they're human, and they have a wife or a husband and kids and this and that and whatever. And they use them as their prey. So I'm like, there's vampires all over the fucking world that just have normal fucking lives. They're not, like, sitting in their basement, like, planning world domination. Like, and maybe this Thin Blood happens to be one of them. And he has a human girlfriend and a human child. Like,
again, I barely, in character, I don't know anything about Thin Bloods. I know that it's like a weaker vampire, but nobody explained that they can have.
Started-
And nobody even explained that there can be like vampires pretending to be human living with a family.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's why our next session is happening the way that it's happening. Because I'm like, our group needs to fucking realize, because you guys are older. You guys should know. Nyx, yeah, she doesn't know. But you guys should fucking know that, like I said, not every vampire is sitting in the basement planning world domination. Like, there are hundreds of thousands of vampires all over the world that just live normal lives. Quote unquote.
pretending to be humans, yeah, in their own
You know what I
way.
mean? Like, and not even those who pretend to be humans being a vampire. They're just normal vampires. Like, you know what I mean? They're not caught up in the wars and this and that. And like, you guys are a unique group because you're a part of this coterie and this is like the work you do. You know what I mean? But it's like, think about the Malkavians. Those people are literally just living their lives.
They're just giving readings, bruh.
You know what I mean? So it's like that realization is what we're missing from our group. And I think that if your characters can remember that, then these types of situations will happen differently. It's like not everything has to has the, oh my gosh, Arwen, are you okay? She's like poofed. She's a big, her tail's all poofed up. So I think that the realization that there is some normality to vampires and their the lives that they live, and that obviously, right, it's like you guys, it's like when you put blinders on a horse. That's sort of what's happened to this group. And it's not that it's like a bad thing or it's like you guys are doing anything wrong. I just want to take those blinders away for a little while, so that you can have a more well-rounded view. Because, like I said, yeah, Nyx doesn't have any clue. She's been a vampire for 2 weeks, and this is all she's known. Literally, this event was the first real, and that's why I try not to, like, tell you what your character is feeling, but I really wanted to hit home for that point with Nyx of, like, that realization hitting her. Because this was the first time anything normal has happened. You know what I mean? But for you guys, like, and even like thinking about Sparta's backstory and like him and his family and shit, you know what I mean? It's like you guys had your own lives and you had a family and you did things together as a family and you know what I mean? It's like, I don't know, that realization is like those blinders are there and I want to like remove them and widen your view to help you in these moments. You know what I mean? To help you approach situations differently and so that you don't get so focused on everybody's out to kill us. You know? Because the idea, yeah, I know that obviously that address was the address of a thin blood, but the idea that there may have been innocent human people inside of that house didn't cross anybody's mind.
Not even once.
And that's why I did it the way that I did it, and I sort of punished you guys. Because I was like, none of them are even considering the fact that there might be like actual humans inside there.
I mean, Sparta got to see a pair of tits.
I mean, vampires have boobs too, so not sure
know.
what that has to do with anything.
Actually, I just wanted to see Sparta giggle. To be fair.
But yeah, so we're gonna remove those blinders for a little while and let our little vampires live their lives for a couple of weeks and go out and explore the world.
Could always tell people what we are thinking of doing so that they know a little bit before we actually do it.
I mean, yeah, they'll be filled in before the episode, but either way, we're just doing a time hop where the group is gonna have a break, like time off, basically. Yeah. Lindsay is telling everybody to fucking go chill.
There is going to be a little time skip.
Yeah. And the coterie is just free to do whatever the fuck they want to do. I mean, it's up to you to decide what your character does in that time. There'll be like a couple of little notes of like what may have happened in the city that you might know about, but it's not like it's a break. It's time off. It's, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When you go on vacation from work, you don't necessarily know what goes on at work while you're gone until you get back and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're back."
Oh god damn it.
But yeah, so it'll give, and I think it'll be cool because it'll give, like, for instance, like in my mind, I'm thinking like if I was Nyx,
Oh,
I
I'm going to go back home. Probably like see my dad or funeral or something.
I don't know if
Mm,
that's what I would do.
would
I
do
wasn't
that.
gonna say that. I wouldn't go see my human family because
I
I
would.
would be afraid of what would happen. But if I was Nyx, who is very new to the city and new to everything, like I would be spending this time exploring, like learning more about the Toreador, learning more about Ashley, getting more connected with them, like Ashley and Penelope, shit like that.
Well, the thing
Um,
is, I was thinking about, well, there's going to be a funeral. And again, like, even if I'm like outside of like, contact or whatever, like, human Nyx Eden would have never not come back home for something like that. So that will have to happen. It would just like not make sense unless I've been deciding. I either will have her fake her death now while we are on the 2 weeks
Mhm.
break, or go back home and deal with that and like disappear again. So I'm kind of still juggling the two in my mind. I'm gonna have to decide and settle on one. Might just flip a coin and see.
Nyx is gonna get everyone she cares about killed.
Oh no.
Wow.
No, don't say that.
Yeah, I
Oh,
don't. Honestly,
God.
I wouldn't. My first thought wasn't like. I mean, obviously, this was just like me thinking of like each character. Like, if I was this character, this is probably what I would like spend my time doing. Um, but I don't think I would go see my human family if I was in that situation. I would be way too afraid of that, exposing myself, like unintentionally exposing myself in some way that leads to a consequence of my family being punished or killed or whatever.
They're always watching.
That would just be like my thought process. If I was Nyx, if I was only 2 weeks old, had experienced everything that I had already experienced and knew like the risks of everything, I think I would be
Yeah,
way
I
too
thought
afraid.
about it, but it wouldn't make no sense for her.
I think you're frozen, Mimsy, by the way. Unless it's just
Like,
me.
I thought about it, I would like, she would go. Like, one of her, like, touchstones is in danger of life and death, and her parent, even though she was, like, not talking to them that much, like, they never, like, wore, anything too bad happened to them. Like, they were just, like, extra Catholic, and, like, she kind of, like, went, I'm not a church girl anymore. I don't give a fuck about this shit, and I don't want to talk to you because you guys are fucking annoying. But aside from that, like, she loves her parents, she loves her family. So it just wouldn't make sense for the character. It was like, yeah, it would be dangerous, but it would make no sense for my character to not go. So I need to decide, I either go or I kill myself as Eden.
You know, Sparta will definitely be exploring with Lev for sure, and possibly even with Lindsay since Lev is so close to Lindsay. So he'll probably lean more towards that, and then if Colette, Nyx, and Alejandro are still in the city at some point, spend time with them, but just doing normal shit. Because because Lev is his cousin, he wants to explore that part of his family more. because he just discovered that he had a cousin.
It's like, we gotta catch up.
So I definitely see him going more the family route.
Next becomes hard, Alejandro becomes soft, Sparta becomes less button pushing.
I
That's
think
funny.
for Alejandro, I think he would probably leave the city for those weeks. He would. I think it's more than likely gonna go back home to where all the events with when he worked as a detective happened, and kind of reconnect with himself. Maybe even train, because he knows the seriousity of this, and he knows that he needs to train. Because that gives him 2 weeks, 3 weeks to train with other Brujas that are more powerful than him.
Mm-hmm. True.
And I have the experience points to actually train one of my disciplines.
Well, you don't have enough time.
Remember, we decided on a month.
Yeah.
In game.
Yeah. No time hop. I think it's gonna probably be like 2 weeks.
All right.
Roughly. But yeah. I don't know what I'm gonna do with Colette. She probably just gonna drop off the face of the earth and not talk to you guys for 2 weeks.
Like, I am done with these.
I honestly see that being what Colette would do. Like,
Oh,
especially,
yeah. I'm gonna go for a spa.
especially
with,
being
like,
hurt,
girlfriend.
like being as hurt as she is going into this break, she's gonna be like, "Fuck you guys! Don't talk to me. Leave me alone." Lindsay said, "I'm on vacation." Ashley's got a big house. Another thing is you have to remember whatever quote unquote normal life Colette had 2 weeks ago was completely disrupted because of you guys. She hasn't even been home to her own house for the last 2 weeks and stayed in her own house, like her own space. You know what I mean? Like, and whatever, like I said, whatever quote unquote normal life she used to live has been completely disrupted for the last 2 weeks because she was assigned to your group as a babysitter originally.
Yeah.
And then Alejandro pissed off Imani and got Ronaldo taken out of the group, and then Colette took over, and she's like, fuck, now I'm stuck with these people. I was only supposed to be here for one night. Thanks for being born. You did this.
Oh my god, sheesh, okay, I can kill her, like, officially, like, it's fine, I have another, like, really cool character. Hop on.
Joke's on you, the story is not at all about Nyx. She's just another pawn.
I'm just another asshole that was, like, brought into this for chaos sake, I guess.
Nyx's Lee, chapter 1. But yeah, I feel like that's what Colette would probably do. She'd be like, don't call me, don't talk to me, I'm not your friend. For the next 2 weeks. Because another thing about Colette to consider is, like, yeah, she might be all like gun-ho and buddy while you guys are working, but that's because she's a professional and she knows she has a job to do. That doesn't necessarily mean she likes you personally. She's literally said to Alejandro that Nyx annoys her. Like, she's literally said that, you know what I mean? But she doesn't allow those emotions and those opinions to affect her when she's working because she's a professional. And she knows that that's only going to put her at risk if she can't work with people she doesn't like.
But this was like night 2. Now we're 2 weeks in. Now we're best friends.
Sure.
Listen.
I mean, they did have that talk at the hotel.
That's how Nyx is like. Oh, she's my best friend now.
Oh boy.
She's my best friend. Colette's like, I tolerate
Like, I think I'm like
Excuse?
alright having you around.
you.
But like, barely.
Like, I don't not like you.
We graduated from me getting annoyed and pissed at you to me being kind of okay with you being around. Okay?
And
I can tolerate your presence.
it's funny too because Colette was probably expecting, as soon as they found out that she was a Toreador, she was probably expecting something different from Nyx and prejudged her because she's surrounded by Toreadors all the time. So she's probably like, oh God, like, not another one.
Another one.
What is this one gonna be like? Is this gonna be Ashley vibes or is this gonna be Penelope vibes? But I joke, but obviously, and like I said, and it was like kind of exposed when when Colette and Nyx were like walking around the hotel, not at all paying attention to what they were supposed to be doing, but talking. I did expose a little bit of like how she could possibly be with a Toreador and somebody like Ashley. So obviously she can put all of that shit aside on a personal level too. And I do think that she's bonded to the group, but that doesn't necessarily mean she wants to hang out with you guys when you're not working. You know? Doesn't necessarily mean she's going to invite you on vacation with her. You're like, hey, come and hang out at my house. Let's have a barbecue. So,
Why not?
I think Colette's just going to retreat. Especially, I think, too, just it makes sense because of how hurt she is. She's pretty damn banged up. It's going to take her a few days to even be in, like, decent shape again.
Yep.
So, she's not necessarily going to be the happiest person to be around right now. And it's funny because I know what the text, there were text exchanged between people about what happened in the night. And obviously I have all of this information in my head. And I was like, oh, wow, I guess I didn't even like consider how this might affect Colette. Like everything that happened in the woods. And, like, the three getting separated and everything that happened. And, like, then she gets shot. And, like, she was left behind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was literally screaming. I'm like, why the fuck are these fucking assholes leaving behind the fucking person that saved our asses? That's why I was literally, like, I rewatched the VOD. I was literally, like, stressed out.
You were losing your mind during like that whole section.
I was losing my mind. I was legit losing my mind. I was
It
like,
was funny.
Off character, I wanted to slap both you and Memsy. I was like, how fucking dare you leave behind the person that has been saving our asses constantly. I was so mad. I was so mad. Like I went back and I was like, okay, I need to like, if that happens again, I'm gonna step out because I literally couldn't.
You're like, I need to walk away.
Like I was like, I don't know what is going on, but you know, maybe they're not thinking straight right now, but like this is kind of a big deal in like several ways. Like after we talked about it, like I went to bed and I was like going through the VOD on my phone.
Uninstall feelings.
Uninstall feelings. But yeah, no, I was like, yeah, no, if that happens again, I need to get like, I'm gonna just cover my camera and like freak out by myself because it's not okay. But I was freaking out, and I still am like, oof, that's gonna feels bad, man.
And I think just because I was so like wrapped up in everything that was going on that like I hadn't even considered, but like afterwards, after all of the conversations we had and everything like that, and kind of like you said, like reflecting and rewatching and stuff, I was like, they literally
Yeah.
just left her there.
Yep.
And then she ended up getting attacked.
Mm-hmm.
And not to say that if you guys were in a group still, she wouldn't have gotten attacked. No, that's not to say, but it does add an extra, like, ouch.
I
Layer
mean,
to it.
Alejandro
Yeah.
did try to go back for her, but crashed into a fucking thingamabob.
Yeah. But yeah, so I think I was like, wow, how is that going to affect her? And all of the shit that she has dealt with, because obviously with her little inner monologue, which you guys don't know in character, obviously, like clearly she has her own like demons to deal with in the sense of like leaving people behind and them dying, and she literally just lived that moment. It's like she just relived.
Dying.
Yeah. She just like relived that moment that she was on the other side of that moment the first time. So I was like, ooh, this is going to be fun to unpack.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even know what I was doing when I did it. That's the beauty of RP. It has the potential to create so much depth if you allow it, you know?
True.
And I think too, like, I think that these 2 weeks for all of our characters, even like Colette, that's I think what we should all focus on is how can we allow everything that's happened to all of these people. Like, they've got 2 weeks to process all of this shit. They've got 2 weeks to go out and do whatever they're gonna do, you know, whether it's Nick's reconnecting with her family and all of that shit, or her coming to the realization of like, I can't reconnect with my family, so this is what I have to do, which is like a huge decision. Like, there's so many things and there's so much to unpack, and I think we should like take a little bit of time to unpack so that we can give our characters some depth going into like the next session. And you know, there can start to be clear consequences and rewards for everything that's been going on in their lives for the last 2 weeks, and see how it like affects them, you know. It's a long time. 2 weeks is a long time to sit there and think about all that shit. Like, think about the fact that the 2 people on your team were right there. And in Colette's mind, because another thing you have to consider is, as soon as Colette was shot, she went into a frenzy. So she has no idea what happened. She has no idea that Alejandro was trying to get back to her. In her mind, probably the last thing that she remembers is being left behind and then getting shot. And then she was in full frenzy mode until you removed both of those things, and then she had just started to calm down, and at that point Ashley is the one that was there. And in her mind, like, think about that for a second. In her mind, she's with you guys, she gets left behind, she gets shot, that's the last thing she remembers, and then maybe the first thing that she comes back to when she can like consciously pay attention is Ashley being the one
carrying her out.
Yeah. So it's like she has no idea that you guys tried. You know what I mean? Like, she wasn't conscious. She wasn't. She was in full frenzy. She couldn't pay attention on what the fuck was going on around her, and she didn't. She couldn't hear the conversation that happened between you guys back there and like trying to get to her and this and that and whatever. And none of that is going to be anything that she can probably even remember because she was too consumed in the frenzy. So that's 2 weeks is a long time to sit around and think about that. You know what I mean? So who knows how that's gonna affect her going into the next mission and stuff of being like, damn. And right off the coattails of already not trusting Alejandro. Like, damn. Like I said, this is not shit I planned. Like, I didn't plan for all of these layers to be created. I just was like, well, they're separated. Let's have a consequence. Bam. Because to be honest with you, nobody was supposed to attack you. There were going to be people in the woods with you. But they weren't going to attack you. And then whenever you guys got separated and all that shit was happening and it didn't seem to be that big of a deal to you guys, and I was like, okay, well, this is a good opportunity to fuck shit up.
Yeah. Like, literally, that's why I was screaming in the background, being like, that is exactly what happens in horror movies.
Yeah.
As soon as those motherfuckers get separated,
People start dying.
People start dying.
It's true.
I said it. Because I was freaking out.
Yeah. But yeah, my original plan was that there were going to be like people in the woods and like your enemies were going to be in the woods and you were going to like be able to trail them and shit. And there were going to be like little things that were going to give them away, but they weren't necessarily going to attack you guys. And then when shit started happening the way that it was happening, and I was just like, oh, okay, well, this is a good chance to make something happen. Because
well, it would, because like if you're already like looking at people that are running through the woods, if they separate, that's a great chance.
Perfect
of,
opportunity.
Like, weeding them out.
Exactly. So I jumped on the opportunity and shot Colette with a fire bullet. Twice, yes. Hey, let's split up. Yeah.
What's the next question?
Oh, and another thing, sorry, one last thing. Another big reason why this was the main reason. It wasn't just that you guys were separated, but it was that Alejandro and Colette were in a way forced to expose themselves because they had to turn on their flashlights.
Mm-hmm.
So that immediately gave their position away. If for whatever reason they were concealed by the darkness of the woods and your enemies couldn't see you, now you've got a fucking spotlight on yourself, basically.
Yeah.
And you're broadcasting to any enemy that's in the area, hey, I'm right here, shoot me. And that was another reason why I decided to do that, is because they were basically forced. Like, there was no other... Like, unless Sparta would have stopped, turned around, taken the time to find them, collect them, and be like, okay, like, let's link arms or whatever, hold hands, like, let's walk together, and he, like, guided them, there was no way that they were going to be able to see anything. You know what I mean? Like, they couldn't. They were at a disadvantage. It was too dark in the woods, and their eyes... Like, yeah, they may have adjusted a little bit, but they didn't adjust enough to, like, actually be able to run through the woods. So they were forced to expose themselves. And then I was like, okay, now you're exposing yourself. Not only are you being loud, you're running around, you're yelling at each other, like, you're doing all of this shit that would be horrible in this situation. But now you've turned on lights. Okay. This is just too much.
It also gives, Alejandro has something in the back of his head already. He knows what he's going to ask for. Because he, like...
Night vision goggles.
Shit. We want fucking night vision goggles. Because we ain't Sparta. We cannot, like, fucking do glowy eyes, see in the dark shit.
Glowy eyes. But yeah, so... The light was, I was like, okay, this is the last resort. Now they're separated. They've already been, like, shouting at each other.
Mm-hmm.
They haven't been careful at all. Mm-hmm. Or quiet. And now they've got lights on. Yeah, this is too many disadvantages for there not to be some type of, like...
A repercussion.
Yeah. So, Colette was on the chopping block that night. But yeah, what is one of our other questions? 'Cause I think we had like 2 or 3 more. I think.
Nope.
Remove some limbs. That was the last one? I thought there was like 4.
We went through the entire all of Jess's questions. And then we already went through like the Alejandro changes and all that. We talked about it several times. I just like put a note there because I wanted to like take time to go through it. And then I guess like I put what we are looking forward to seeing like developing.
That's good,
because
especially
I'm
with
excited
this
about
break.
the fucking La Sombra. How?
You
Mia
good?
is on my
Oh.
she's I'm with it. No.
I just want
She's
love,
like
Mom.
in my fucking like leggings, and it's not pleasant. Very, very
No,
hurting.
thank you, kitty.
No, thank you, kid. I love you, but no.
So what are you guys looking forward to?
I think it's gonna be interesting seeing, what Colette thinks happen after she, like, what Colette feels after she frenzied, like, what picture does she have after? Because, like we said earlier, she doesn't know what actually happened. Another thing is gonna be, is anyone gonna fucking tattletale that Alejandro actually fucking showed emotions for the first time?
No, we're just gonna go shouting around. Alejandro was crying blood tears.
Yeah.
Alejandro was being a little bitch.
Cry baby
Alejandro's a
Alejandro.
pussy.
Alejandro's a
Wow.
Hashtag exposed.
This just in
big
on
exposed.
VMZ.
On VMZ. Underground vampire news. I love that.
No,
I need to make that
I
a
actually
thing.
love that. I need to make that a thing. Nyx is gonna make that a thing.
Oh my god,
my
how
God.
funny would that be? Like Nyx is like, Ashley, I have an idea.
What if we do a private TV channel
Podcast.
podcast?
Vampire Weekly.
Oh my god, you guys can be like the chatty broads.
Yeah,
But,
exactly.
vampire mode.
It's me vampire mode though. Oh my god, I would love to do that.
Oh my god, please
I'm
make
gonna
that a
put
thing.
down.
Please have
Um,
I swear, have Ashley ask Ashley. That would be fucking gold. Oh my god, gossip hour with Ashley and Nyx.
Okay, I think I
Other-
decided. I think I'm gonna kill Eden in real life.
oh shit. That's gonna be eventful.
These
and
2
that's
weeks
gonna
are
be...
going to be that. Mhm.
Oh god. I half
makes
wanted you
no
to go
sense.
see them.
And
Because I was like,
that's the interest.
No, I would
That's-
probably go see them, but in secret.
right, like they wouldn't know you were
It's-
there.
And then once I did and said my goodbyes, like she would probably like fake her own death, or ask somebody to help her fake her own death.
Hey Lindsay,
It's
I have a favor.
interesting.
Mhm.
It's interesting you saying that because Alejandro, that was one of the first things that Alejandro said to Nyx. You're gonna have to fake your own death.
Yeah, he did say that. I think he said that like
Because the-
in the hotel, like they were still at the hotel or some shit. It was that same night. I don't remember
Yeah.
at what point, but it was the first night.
It wasn't the first night where he said you're gonna have to do it because we can't have, you're a celebrity.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And if they believe that
Eventually,
you're dead,
the world would be expecting, like, you
A
know,
return.
how the hell is she ain't dying?
Mhm.
Well, not that, but they would expect a return, like, because she did it in a way of, like, she went into a hiatus, like,
Yeah,
I
I went
you
into
know,
a creative hiatus.
which she's probably done before, but then
I've done
probably,
before
like,
several
produced an
times.
amazing album right afterwards, and that was, like, her grand reveal, so everybody would be like, oh my god, I can't wait, like, she's doing her thing, and she's gonna, like, come out with the
Finally
next
making
awesome
something.
album.
Exactly.
And that's, like, what
So-
everybody would be expecting and be like, okay, when is this gonna happen?
That's pretty much one of the reasons why, you know, Alejandro said to her, "You're gonna have to kill yourself."
Yeah.
You have to fake your own death.
She's been thinking about it.
Hey.
Yeah, again, I don't talk about it, even because the only time that, like, somebody brings it up is because they're attacking her. Alejandro.
Yeah,
I'm
she
a
needs
dick,
to-
okay? Leave me
She
alone.
needs to have a single that gets released after she's dead. She can be like
Of
the
course.
she can be like the
Of
female version of
course.
Tupac, where everybody's like, that bitch is alive on an island somewhere.
Wait, no, Tupac, Michael Jackson, Biggie.
I mean, yeah,
Oh,
loads
yeah.
of people. But yeah.
Elvis.
They're like, she must have, this must have been the last thing she did.
Recorded.
It's gonna be a sequel to Turtle Blood at Midnight.
Oh, God. Yes. I guess it's going to be.
Turtle Blood at Midday. There you go. That's part 2.
The dawn of
Right.
Turtle Blood.
The dawn of turtle blood. Oh, no. Rip.
Kind of reminds me of Reggae Shark, to be honest.
Sparta, did you say what you were looking forward to? I don't remember.
I am looking forward to finding out more about who was in the woods,
My head hurts.
but also that Margaret chick in the hotel.
Mm-hmm.
Because all of that shit that happened in there.
He's the La Sombra. Come on. I can tell you as Fenice.
She's the Lasombra, or do you think that there's just another? Well, I'm definitely interested to see what happens with that.
I am
Yeah, so many people. involved.
99.9%. So I can admit that there's a 0.1% of me that might not be sure. But I'm 99.9% that Margaret in the fucking whatever that used dominate on us is the same motherfucker that did the little oblivion shit on whatever. So,
Damn you,
but
Margaret.
that's speculation.
Yeah, that's just speculation.
That's just speculation.
This is just rumors.
It's just rumor. It's just a fake news.
I know, right?
Jenna's about to
Ryan, go
rewrite the whole backstory. Like, shit, I've got work to do.
I'm sorry.
She's on to me. No.
I studied film. I'm just good at like doing my own thing. Okay.
Listen, doesn't mean you have to ruin the story for everybody else. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Nobody's gonna meta up in this.
Yeah,
bitch,
no. I'm just joking.
I'll punch a bitch if any of you.
I mean-
like, come and find you.
To answer your question, it's so funny because you do this almost every session, Sparta. You ask questions that were answered in the session that you just don't know were answered in the session. But
You know,
I'll go ahead and tell you what happened in the session, and then you can speculate. You speculation a little bit more.
Speculation.
But, well, I guess you wouldn't know this. No, you would know this because Nyx said, in her premonition, the voice of whoever was in her premonition. No, she doesn't know it was the same. It was the same, but you wouldn't know that in character.
Yeah, you wouldn't know that in character because my mind was modified.
Yes.
true.
So, but out of
The
character,
first
that
thing-
answer was already,
Yeah.
or that
The
question
first
was
thing
answered.
we heard was the same accent of my sire.
Yeah.
And then in the vision there was the same accent. I didn't remember it because she like fucked my
Modified.
memory up.
Yeah.
So I couldn't have said, "Oh yeah, it was the
It
same
was
lady."
the same
But
lady as
me
the
in
hotel.
character, I'm like, yeah, that's the La Sombra. They have dominate, and they have the little shadow shit
Shadow
and
shit.
fortitude.
Shadow shit.
Shadow shit.
That's what it's gonna be called from now on. Shadow shit.
Shadow shit, exactly. There's the voodoo shit, the shadow shit.
And domination. Let's get some whipping action in here. But yeah, so out of character, that was already answered because it was the same voice. It's just Nyx in character didn't recognize it as being the same person because of the modification on her mind when Margaret rewrote her memory. But yeah, it's still a Sombra. Fuck. I'm just kidding. Obviously, like, that's the thing is, like, obviously I don't want you guys to pay close enough attention, but if you pay close enough attention, all of your answers will be all of your questions will be answered. Like,
Your answer
I
will
think
be
that's-
questioned.
yes, your answers will be questioned.
I think that's one of the good things about going back and rewatching. If
Yeah,
like,
because you miss stuff in
it's-
the
it's-
middle of
yeah.
the
Mhm.
action.
Yeah.
it also helps you like figure out. It also helps you how you're gonna play your character on the next episode. Like it kind of like guides you a little bit. Like, okay, you did this, your character did this. Okay, let's see how can I adjust them to the next day.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think rewatching the episodes is important. Hopefully we've fixed the VODs for future so that they can be, because obviously I have the recordings, but only I have that. But if you guys ever like the last time when you guys wanted to rewatch Lindsay's little speech, if you're ever curious about something, if something does happen to the VOD again, and you can't watch it for whatever reason, or you just like, hey, let's watch this together and talk about it, I'm more than happy to do that, and I can just pull up the recording and find whatever you're looking for. I rewatch almost every single time throughout the week.
Same.
I rewatch the episode and
Same.
I take
little
notes. Yeah. And it helps me prepare for the next one. Because another thing is too, is like, there are little things that I miss here and there, or things not necessarily that I missed, but didn't note in the moment that I might want to pull from later. You know what I mean? And so that it's not just like, oh, that happened and then we're never going to talk about it ever again, or it's never going to come up ever again. Like, I don't think Finn was expecting all the shit that happened with our family to happen, but that was a follow-up to RP that we already did. Because I don't think anybody, to be honest with you, before I planned to do that, I hadn't even thought about Edward. He was gone. Like, that whole situation was done. And I was just like, okay, bye, situation over. But I was like, okay, well, let's like add some depth to what happened. Because none of you guys knew who the group was that attacked her. They didn't know why. Like, none of those questions had been answered. And I kind of realized that because everybody was just focused on other things. So I was like, well, this is a way for me to like tie that role play back in and come to a conclusion with that story, but also create more story off of it. You know what I mean? And you guys can do that too. You know what I mean? Like, conversations that you've had days ago, you can write down people's comments. If somebody said something that maybe would have upset your character, but you don't say anything in the moment, maybe you say something 3 days later. You know what I mean? Like, you know, maybe Sparta gets pissed off about something and it's because he's been holding on to something for a week because he didn't say anything a week ago or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, shit like that. You guys can add that depth as well and kind of follow up with stories.
It also helps with the intro monologues that we do, right? Just catching up rewatching the night before, and then
Right.
work from that. It's not a difficult thing to write, but it can get difficult when you're like, what happened last time?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Right.
this happened. Okay, I'm gonna go rewatch this.
Yeah.
Um, and just it's Sparta's turn
Sparta.
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's starting back over.
And
Mhm.
yours will be the session will be everybody sort of meeting back up at the safe house after your little vacation.
I mean, we could do what we did that one time where we all read something because there was a break, I think.
No, that was in the middle of the night. We stopped midway.
Yeah. That was
Oh,
before
yeah,
we
yeah, yeah.
the
Right,
gang
right,
was
right,
gonna
right,
take him.
right. So that we could like reconnect. I mean, we
Yeah.
could do that again. It would be like a good time because I feel like everybody is going to have something very significant that happened during that stretch, and that would be like a good way in case like I need to RP some shit,
I don't
Jenna.
think I want to do that. I think the only reason why is I think I would rather spend the first hour or the first 2 hours, I don't even care, role playing with you guys and you guys actually talking to each other, because the issues with the inner monologues is you can't use any of that in character.
Oh yeah, okay.
You know what I mean? I would rather spend some time with you guys reconnecting, but it actually be role play. You know what I mean? You know what I'm trying to say? So then it can actually be like shit that you guys can use and know. I mean, you can reveal you can sort of reveal what your character went through in those 2 weeks through actual role play, because then it can actually be something that's beneficial to the group. I would rather start out the night that way. Maybe just have a
it
real
makes sense.
slow
I didn't even
start.
think about it, but like
Yeah. Sort of have a slow start to the night. Everybody's making their way. Maybe not even everybody shows up at the same time. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, oh, Colette texted me. She's on her way. She'll be here in an hour or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like just a slow start to the night, and you guys all just catching up and making your way back to the house, sort of thing. I'd rather do it that way, I think. Because I do like the idea, because like you said, everybody's gonna go through shit. And I do like the idea of like
a lot of shit. I feel like all of us
Yeah.
are gonna like
everybody's gonna have something to say that's gonna be important. And I do want to showcase that, but I'd rather showcase it through actual role play. So then we can build off of it together. You know what I mean? So we'll just have Sparta. You can do just the normal like little inner monologue thing that we do when you're waking up in the first start of the night. And then we'll just have everybody like slowly meeting back up at the house, and we can just start out the role play that way. And then everybody can sort of talk about all the shit. But what were you saying? You said you need to role play some shit out.
Yeah, I need to role play. Like I'm gonna have to role play my death.
I'm interested to see how you do it.
And the funny thing is, like, that role play is actually gonna stretch out to the rest of us, because obviously we were gonna hear about it, and Sparta and Alejandro's going, oh, she listened.
I think that's going to be really interesting to see, like, if you do it in, like, let's say she makes out, like, she goes secretly to see her family towards, like, the beginning of the break. Then, like, midway through the break is when, like, she, quote-unquote, dies. And that news is, like, because it would likely be national news on some aspect. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, she's nationally known. So it's definitely, like, the entire U.S. would know.
Yeah, so then, like, you guys, it would be interesting if, this is just me speculating, sorry. I don't want to, like, feel like I'm doing whatever. If I'm giving you ideas.
I'm not going to die, Jess. Die as, like, my human self. So that
she's gonna kill,
am not around.
Yeah. She's gonna
just-
fake
I'm
her
not gonna
death.
kill my character.
Mhm.
Nyx is still going to be there,
Yeah.
but
It's
I'm
just
killing
human side.
the human Eden.
She's faking her death.
Yeah.
So I think that it would be interesting, like, if Nyx decides to tell the group, be like, this is what I'm doing, or if she doesn't, and they, like, sort of find out on their own. Like, you know, I feel like that would be really interesting. Be like, oh, wow, you know, this happened. Because it's not to say that, because like I said, you guys aren't necessarily going to be around each other and with each other.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like, Colette's not going to be there. I can tell you that right now. Colette's going to be
Alejandra
unplugged, gone. Like, you guys probably won't even know where Colette is.
Alejandra is bouncing home. I can tell you guys that immediately as well.
So it will be interesting to see how you decide to, like, do that. And if they find out on their own, you know.
That's why I need a role play with you, because I would probably ask. I honestly would probably talk to Lindsay.
Yeah,
about it.
I would see her reaching out to Lindsay. I wouldn't see her necessarily talking to the group.
No,
I think she would just go to Lindsay and be like, I need your
She
help.
would literally go to Lindsay and be like, okay, I need Eden to die.
Mhm.
And we need to make this, like,
And
where-
that's, sorry. I don't know. Yeah,
no,
I agree.
where it's, like, believable, and, like, you know, like, she knows, like, Lindsay has done cover-ups before.
Exactly.
And she has, like, she is the only one. In my mind, since I told you guys, okay, I'm gonna murder Eden, okay? She's gonna be Gonzo next time. I've been already thinking about it. I'm like, the group is not gonna know unless for the news. If they're tuning into the news,
if they happen to
on
hear
the radio, it's probably gonna happen, like, where they're gonna be, like, playing their fucking songs and music and singles and la-di-da on the radio, and, like, you'll hear in the social medias and shit like that, and they're probably gonna find it out that way.
Mm-hmm.
She's not gonna tell anybody.
Mm-hmm.
She's gonna talk to somebody that can help her do that.
Right.
Which is not Alejandro or Sparta or Colette.
Mm-mm. She's just gonna go straight to the source, which is what I would do. I would just go to.
Exactly.
I would know that Lindsay is the one who is the one I would need to talk to about that. You know what I mean? And they've made that very clear. Lindsay has communicated, like, whatever you want to do, we're here to support you. We're here to help you. We'll make it happen. We want to make this transition as easy as we can.
As easy as possible. Mm-hmm.
So Lindsay's already, and even Lev, in the ways he's interacted with her, has communicated that, hey, we're doing this however you want to do this. Mm-hmm. So we're just here to support you, and this is your life. You can figure it out however you want to figure it out. But that's what I mean, Sparta, whenever I messaged you guys and I said, like, we could even do, like, some text RP or whatever, that's what I meant. Like, for instance, she is going to need to do something with an NPC. She's going to need to do something with Lindsay. So there needs to be some sort of, like, text, or it can even be in a call, like, whatever. Text RP is usually easier because you don't have to, like, schedule it and be in the same place at the same time. And text RP is really easy. You just type what you're doing, what you're saying, shit like that, and then the person responds to you. You know what I mean? And you have, like, this interaction, but it's all text. So that's what I was talking about. So, like, for instance, if you wanted to do something with Colette, or if you wanted to do something with Lev, shit like that, that stuff, if you want to, you don't have to. You can just tell me what happened. I'm perfectly fine with that. It's your story. Yeah, it involves an NPC, but I'm not going to control your story and what happened. So it's like, if you message me and we're like, oh, Lev and Sparta went and did this and trained for a week. Cool. You could just tell me that. Or if you want to, like, RP something out specifically, we can take the time to do that. And that's what I was talking about. Because then it adds a little bit more, because it's like you've actually RP'd that experience, and then you can have, like, that moment kind of, like, saved in your mind going forward, if it's a significant enough moment to do that, which I feel like Nyx planning her death is pretty significant.
Pretty significant.
So
Yeah,
Um,
It's not every day
is
you die
gonna
twice.
be a lot. Oh,
what'd you say?
Every day you die twice.
It's true. It is not
it's
every day you
definitely
die
not
twice.
every day that you die twice.
Um, but yeah,
That's for sure.
I think that this next session will be a little interesting. It'll probably be a little bit more of a slow starting.
Slow burn.
Yeah, we'll probably do a lot more like that one episode we had where it was really story developing, character developing, shit like that. Because this whole group will have been separated for the last 2 weeks, kind of doing their own thing, processing all of the shit that's going on and dealing with their own shit. So it'll be a nice reunion. Get the group back together and see where everybody's minds are at. I'm excited.
And the funny thing about the text RP, you can still use this group chat as well for like group messages. Like you can do one on one, but you still have that phone, right?
Right.
Group messages are like, "Yo, what's up, guys?
Just checking
Living it up
in
here
or
in-"
whatever. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Here's-
We can totally use this, like you said, for the group chat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we don't have any more questions, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Nope. All right. Any last thoughts from anybody as we're wrapping things up here?
I'm gonna delete the questions so that we don't
None
get
that I can-
confusion next time.
I think, you know, see you guys. Like, I hope you guys are excited for next Saturday, because now that we're doing this time jump, it's gonna be there might be even more revealed.
Whatever
There's
happened.
gonna be a lot coming up. That is for sure.
I honestly could see a very large part of our next session just being like everybody kind of catching up and going through, having lots of conversations and things and shit like that.
You know what?
Yeah, I'm really curious to see, honestly, the reaction of the guys when they find out that Eden is dead officially.
If we give him a name, though, Nikolai, he can't just be that stoner drummer guy, which is way more iconic than if he had a name. He's living his
stoner
life.
drummer guy, the Malkavian, you mean?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Maybe that's his artist name. Probably.
Give him a name, bring him back.
That's
Maybe
stoner
that's his
drummer.
artist name. Stoner drummer guy, yes.
Oh gosh. Instead of actually being that stoner drummer guy, it's just TSDG. And only the cool people actually know what it stands for.
That would be
That would be too much.
Imagine if the
would be
stoner
too
guy
much.
was the imposter. He's fooled everybody.
It
Yeah,
was
the 8
super
people in
chill
this
with Eden.
podcast.
Yeah, we'll help you out, lol. The 8 people in this podcast.
You guys are the cool people that know who his true identity. Maybe that cool stoner guy will make another appearance. We'll see. The Malkavians, they just shoot shit and they don't get involved in all this mess. They only come when summoned.
Yeah,
I
they've only
mean,
made one
honestly, like... Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. Let's see.
that they've only actually they made 2 appearances, but that's it. They haven't really.
Malkavians. I
Well,
think
yeah,
the
it
big
was-
one was at that, like, Elysium
Yeah.
meeting where we finally got to talk to them. They've always been there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, all the time that there was an Elysium, like, congregation, like, they were there, but
Mm-hmm.
they
Haven't been
just,
involved.
like Jenna always points out, they're kind of like estranged. They're kind of like doing their own fucking thing.
Yeah.
They go there, they check in, and then they're like, okay, bye. Gotta go. Talk with the ghosts and shit, like go and like see into my crystal ball of whatever.
That's funny.
Gang.
No one gives them a second thought.
TSDG.
TSDG. You just see TSDG graffitied places. You're like, what does that mean?
Tagged everywhere.
There's like speculation between the group. Every now and then, every couple of days, somebody has a different acronym for like what TSDG might mean.
What it means. It's like an urban legend. The urban legend of TSDG.
The ultimate urban legend.
No, G.
I can't even think of anything witty for what it might mean. My brain's too dead. Urban legends of New Orleans.
Trevor sucks dick good.
This needs to be a thing that happens that like every now and then in our group chat, just like every couple of days, someone in the group chat has like a different meaning for like what TSDG is.
Yeah.
That's too funny. Trevor sucks dick good. Travis. You should have said Travis, because then it would have been even funnier.
Perfect.
Oh, God.
Guys, I'll be right back.
Okay. That's funny.
Well, I just pretty much just started my text. RP.
Well, I wonder how long Finn's gonna be, because we're in a way wrapping these things up. But anyway, next week it might be a little bit of a change of pace for the episode itself. It might be a little bit slower. But I'm really looking forward to it. I think that some important things can happen for our group. And yeah, I think it will be a really good time as always.
I agree. It's going to be interesting to see all the shit that happens.
We might have to say goodbye without Finn, because I need to eat before I have to go to work. So I don't know how long she's going to be gone. I watch her come back as soon as we say goodbye. But anyway, obviously, if anybody is in the lurk mode, you can catch us on Saturdays at 6 p.m. is when we do our live stream for the sessions. And then we also have a YouTube channel where we're slowly uploading, trying to get caught up. I think we're on like episode 5 now over there. So go follow the YouTube if you haven't. Perfect, she's back. And you can catch any videos and things there. We post everything there. So as always, we're saying goodbye. Thank you for joining us, joining the conversation, asking lots of awesome questions. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone. Have a good night.
Adios.